Hey there drone fans, Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'd like to show you 4 brand new accessories for your Mavic 2 that I think you're going to find pretty interesting. Now I've been testing all 4 of these products over the last month or so, and each of them have slowly worked their way into my field kit for different reasons, which I'll explain in a minute. I've got 2 that'll enhance your flying experience, and 2 more that'll make it a little safer to take your quad out to the field for an afternoon of flying and get it home safely at the end of the day. Now I'll start off with the ones that'll improve your flying experience and explain why I use them and why I think they're different. The first one I want to talk about is this guy. It's called the Sun Shield, and essentially this snaps on the front of your quad, and it provides little blinders on either side to protect that lens from the sun flare that's going to go across it. Now normally when you're flying on a sunny day, if you're flying away from the sun or even an angle to the sun, you're pretty much okay, but the minute you turn far enough where the sun can wash across your lens, you get a lot more light inside that lensing system, which can really mess with the picture you're taking or the video you're recording. So what this does is give you a little bit more protection to turn closer to the sun without worrying about that sun washing across the lens. Now, a lot of people use filters. I like to use filters as well, especially if I'm flying over water or there's snow on the ground and there's a very bright sunny day. But even with a filter, you want to have consistent light entering the camera. So that's still an enhancement that I use when I'm using filters out there, because I want to make sure that I've got a consistent amount of light hitting that sensor on the back of the lens. Now to use this guy, you basically snap off your protection globe. Put that guy aside for a second. There are 2 little divots on the front of this, 2 little stanchions that stick off. They fit in the front, just where the lens would clip in, just like that. And then it snaps on just like that. So it's pretty straightforward, really easy to use. It doesn't impede the camera movements. You can put that on, power up the quad. It's going to go through a power on self-test just fine. And I pretty much use that every time I fly. I really like the protection it gives me from that glare on either side when I'm flying around. It's sort of like wearing a baseball cap when you've got a bright sun above you. It gives you a little bit of shading for your eyes. That does exactly the same thing. Very inexpensive accessory to add, and it's very easy to use. So when you're done for the day, you just pop this guy off, put it back in your case, and you're good to go. The next one I want to talk about are propellers. Now, the standard propellers that come, these low noise propellers that come in the quad, are fantastic. They do a great job of lifting the quad, very stable, they're very flexible, they're very low noise type of propellers, but these are carbon fiber propellers. These are an upgraded version of the propeller. Now, I don't use these every time I fly. I typically use these when I've got very windy conditions, especially gusty conditions, because I find that these flex so much that the quad has a little bit more wiggle and wobble in it when I'm flying in a heavy wind or a gusting wind, especially around the shore, because you have those unpredictable winds that come in off the water, and maybe they're hitting a cliff or something and bouncing back. So these work really well, and they're standard, they're same as the propellers that are on the quad as far as functionality goes, same specifications exactly. And basically to use them, you want to pop off the original prop and then make sure you line them up. So there are 2 versions. There's a white ring version and there's a black ring version. You want to make sure you put the black on the black and the white on the white. But essentially you just pop off the propellers that are on there and pop these guys on in their place. And it couldn't be simpler to use them. And again, I don't use them every time I fly, but I have them in my kit for those days. Like for example, today it was really windy out there when I was flying, and I had to put these guys on to make sure that I had good stability. They're just as quiet. They've got the same kind of canter, if you will, or cant to the blading, so it's exactly the same type of style of blade on there, but they just give you a little bit more rigidity, and again, they're much more stable on the quad. So they'd be a really good option for you to use in addition to the others. Now you can't use 2 of these and 2 of the originals. You have to change all 4 of them out if you're going to fly that way, but for me, having them in my kit for those days where I go out and I don't expect it to be windy, and then I get to a location and all of a sudden the wind's kicked up, these work okay, but having these carbon fiber blades on really give me a lot more of a stable flight. The next 2 products I want to talk about are protection products. The first one has to do with the globe. Now, I've done clips before on how you assemble this when you're going to pack it up for the day. To put the globe back on it, you basically stick that on there, put those 2 feet in and put it closed like that, and it works okay. I mean, it comes stock with that, but for me, there's a lot of moving parts in that, and it takes a little bit of extra time to put that globe back on there, and I know it's not that big a deal, but trying to fiddle with that at the end of the day, especially if it's dark, is something that I try to avoid. So we've got a brand new replacement globe, which is a 1-piece globe that goes on and locks the gimbal in place, as well as protecting it during transport. Now, you don't have to buy this, right? Obviously, you can use the stock globe protector on there, but I've already broken one of those and had to replace it because I threw it in my bag and something fell on top of it and cracked it. So if you've lost your globe or broken your globe or just like me, tired of dealing with it, this is a lot easier to use. And the way this works, inside there's a little form cutout for the actual camera. So basically all you do is line it up at the top of the camera, put those 2 front feet in, push the back down and you're good to go. And that locks the gimbal in place and gives you the same kind of protection you get from the original globe. So really nice addition to the kit. And I find that, you know, for me, simplicity is a key. I want to get out, fly quickly. When I'm done for the day, I really want to get back home to the family, so I want to fold everything up and close it up as quickly as possible. And I just find myself wrestling with this thing too much when I'm out there in the field. All right, so the last thing I want to show you is what I'll call a propeller stabilizer. And these are interesting because when you fold this guy up and put it in your kit or your backpack, one of the challenges you've got are these props can fold out like this. And if you throw it in a backpack, you could bend these or crack these, but worse, these are a leverage point for the motor. So if you've got this thing in your bag and this is being pulled up at a really strong angle, you're putting a lot of torque on that motor on the bottom, which is going to damage the windings and damage the shaft. It may take the shaft out around. You're going to get wobbling on the propellers. So holding these together is pretty cool and pretty important. So what this does is basically slide over the propellers on the top. So you basically slide those two propellers in there, and that holds the propellers closed so they're not going to move. Same thing on the bottom. Now this one on the bottom is a little bit nicer because it's got two little cutouts for the feet and the back. So you essentially slide it over the propellers, just like I'm showing you here. And then once you get it on all four of these propellers, you just slide it forward and put it over those feet, and that'll hold those propellers in place. So now none of those are going to flap around. And again, I use a small portable bag like this for transporting this guy. Before, with those propellers loose, I would always have to be careful about how I put it in there, because if they flopped out when I closed it, I would bend the propellers. Now those are nice, tight, in place. They're not going to move around. I'm sure that this package is really, you know, it's compact, it's together, it's not going to flop around inside the case. So it makes it really easy for me to just zip this thing up and take it out there with me in the field. So that's basically it for the four of them. Again, I'll go through them. There's the sun shield. I've got the carbon fiber props, which again are two flying enhancements. I've got the new globe, which is a one-piece globe to snap it closed. And I've got the propeller stabilizers as well. And I use all four of these products when I fly. We have these available on our website. I'm sure you can find them all over the web, like I say every time. But I love investigating these kind of accessories because I spend a lot of time flying, and I'm always looking for enhancements to the quad to make it a little more fun, a little safer, or just really enhance that flying experience out there in the field. When I find something cool like this, I like to put a clip together to let you guys know about it in case you're looking for accessories like this to add to your kit. So if you have any questions at all about anything I've talked about today, drop them in the comments below. I promise to get back to you as quickly as I can. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, so I'm a little bit behind on answering a lot of the questions, but I'm working on it. I promise I'll get through them. And again, I really appreciate you guys watching these clips. Hopefully you're finding value in them. I love the feedback, so if you have questions or your comments, drop them below, and again, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks an awful lot for watching. Until next time, happy flying.